Something extraordinary is happening in the sky right now, and if you have felt like your thoughts are racing faster than usual, like conversations keep circling back to the same theme, or like a decision you have been avoiding is suddenly demanding your attention, you are not imagining it. The Gemini New Moon has arrived, and it is quietly rewriting the next chapter of your life. This is not just another lunar cycle. This is a cosmic reset button. A moment when the universe hands you a blank page and asks you what story you want to tell next. Every new moon plants a seed, but a Gemini new moon plants 5 seeds at once because Gemini rules communication, curiosity, choices, and connection. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 5 powerful signs that this new moon is already reshaping your destiny, whether you have noticed it yet or not. Before we go further, hit that like button so this message reaches more people who need it today. Subscribe so you never miss what the sky reveals next. And if you are a Capricorn watching this, drop a comment right now and tell me what area of your life feels like it is shifting. Let's begin. Part 1. Your mind will not stop racing. The first powerful sign that the Gemini New Moon is rewriting your destiny is a mental restlessness unlike anything you have felt in weeks. You may have noticed that your thoughts are moving faster, jumping from one idea to the next, refusing to settle down even when you try to relax. This is not anxiety in the traditional sense. This is your mind being activated by one of the most communicative, quick-witted energies in the entire Zodiac. Gemini rules the intellect, and when the new moon falls in this sign, it lights up the part of you that craves information, conversation, and mental stimulation. You might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night with a sudden idea you feel compelled to write down. You might start several conversations in a single day that all seem to circle back to the same underlying question about your life direction. This is the universe using your own curiosity to guide you toward an answer you have been avoiding. Gemini energy does not like stagnation, and this new moon is specifically designed to shake loose any mental blocks that have kept you stuck in old patterns of thinking. Pay close attention to recurring thoughts this week. If the same idea, worry, or dream keeps resurfacing, no matter how many times you try to dismiss it, that is not random noise. That is a message. The Gemini New Moon often delivers its guidance through repetition. Rather than one dramatic moment of clarity, it nudges you again and again until you finally listen. This is also a powerful time for decision-making, even though it might not feel that way at first. Your mind may feel scattered, but underneath that scattered feeling is a sorting process. You are weighing options, even if you are not consciously aware of it. Trust that this mental activity has a purpose. Many people report that within days of a Gemini new moon, a decision that felt impossible suddenly becomes obvious, almost as if the fog lifted overnight. If your thoughts have been louder than usual, know that this is your mind being prepared for a breakthrough, not a breakdown. The racing thoughts are uncomfortable, but they are doing important work behind the scenes, connecting dots you have not been able to see clearly until now. Part 2. Conversations that change everything. The second sign is one of the most fascinating aspects of this lunar cycle. Conversations that seem ordinary on the surface, but end up changing the entire direction of your life. Gemini rules communication above all else, and during this new moon, the words spoken to you and the words you speak to others carry an unusual amount of weight. You may have already experienced this without realizing it. A friend mentions a job opening in passing. A stranger on a train says something that stays with you for days. A family member brings up a memory that suddenly puts your current situation into perspective. These are not coincidences. The universe often uses the people around us as messengers, especially during a Gemini new moon, because this energy thrives on exchange and connection. Watch for conversations that leave you feeling strangely energized or unexpectedly emotional. Watch for names or topics that keep coming up across completely unrelated conversations, almost like the universe is circling the same subject from different angles until you finally pay attention. This is also an incredible time to reach out to someone you have been meaning to contact. Whether it is an old friend, a potential business partner, a mentor, or someone you have unfinished business with, the Gemini New Moon supports honest, meaningful dialogue. Words spoken now tend to land differently. Apologies feel more sincere. Requests feel more natural. Even difficult conversations tend to go more smoothly because Gemini energy softens the sharp edges of communication and makes room for understanding. If you have been holding back from saying something important, this lunar cycle is practically begging you to speak up. Silence tends to work against you right now, while honest expression tends to open doors. Many people find that a single conversation during this window leads to an opportunity, a reconciliation, or a realization that changes their entire trajectory. Keep a mental note, or better yet a written note, of any conversation this week that feels unusually significant. You may not understand its full importance until weeks or even months later, when you look back and realize that single exchange was the turning point. Part 3. Old options return with new meaning. The third powerful sign is the reappearance of choices, people, or paths you thought were closed. Gemini is the sign of duality, of two paths running side by side. And this new moon has a habit of resurrecting old options so you can look at them again with fresh eyes. This might look like a job opportunity you turned down months ago, suddenly reopening. It might be a former partner reaching out unexpectedly. It might be an old hobby or creative project calling you back after months or years of neglect. The key here is that these returning options are not meant to trap you in the past. They are meant to show you how much you have grown. When something old resurfaces during a Gemini new moon, the universe is essentially giving you a test. Will you make the same choice you made before? Or will you recognize that you are a different person now, capable of a different decision? This is one of the clearest ways destiny reveals itself, not through brand new opportunities, but through second chances that ask you to choose differently. Pay attention to anything that reappears in your life this week that you had mentally filed away as finished. A conversation you thought was over, a door you thought was closed, a person you thought you had moved past. Gemini rules choices, and this new moon often presents exactly two paths at once, asking you to weigh them honestly rather than emotionally. It is also worth noticing your gut reaction when these old options return. Do you feel dread or do you feel curiosity? Your immediate emotional response often reveals more truth than hours of overthinking. If something old returns and your first feeling is lightness or excitement, that is a signal worth exploring. If your first feeling is heaviness or obligation, that is equally important information. This new moon is not asking you to repeat the past. It is asking you to use the past as data, so you can make a more aligned decision moving forward. Destiny rarely announces itself loudly. More often, it shows up disguised as a familiar choice, wearing a new expression, waiting to see if you will recognize the difference this time. Part 4. A sudden craving for change and variety. The fourth sign is a restless, almost electric craving for something different. You might suddenly feel bored with your daily routine, even if nothing is objectively wrong with it. You might feel an urge to rearrange your living space, change your appearance, take a different route to work, or sign up for something you have never tried before. This is classic Gemini energy, the eternal seeker of variety, refusing to let you settle into autopilot. This craving for change is not a distraction from your destiny. It is often the exact mechanism through which your destiny unfolds. Gemini rules short trips, new information, and fresh environments, and during this new moon, small changes in your daily life can trigger surprisingly large shifts in your mindset. A new route to work might introduce you to a new coffee shop where you strike up a conversation with someone important. A spontaneous class or workshop might connect you with people who reshape your next few years. Do not underestimate the power of small, seemingly insignificant changes right now. The universe rarely delivers destiny in one giant dramatic gesture. More often, it arrives through a series of small decisions that compound over time. Saying yes to an invitation you would normally decline, trying a new hobby out of pure curiosity, reading a book on a subject you know nothing about. These small acts of variety open channels that rigid routine keeps closed. This is also an excellent period for learning. Gemini rules knowledge, and any craving you feel to study something new, whether it is a language, a skill, or a subject that has always intrigued you, is worth honoring right now. Many people find that a course or book picked up during a Gemini new moon becomes surprisingly relevant to their life within a matter of months, almost as if they were guided to that specific information at exactly the right time. If your daily life suddenly feels stale and your mind keeps wandering towards something new and different, follow that pull. It is not random restlessness. It is your destiny nudging you toward the next version of yourself, one small, curious step at a time. Part 5. Two paths appear, and you must choose the fifth and final sign is the clearest and often the most challenging. An actual fork in the road appears, and avoiding the decision is no longer an option. Gemini is symbolized by the twins, representing duality, and new moons in this sign frequently manifest as two distinct paths appearing at once, each with its own appeal, each requiring you to give something up. This might be a choice between two jobs, two relationships, two cities, or simply two versions of how you want to spend your time and energy going forward. Unlike other lunar cycles that build gradually, a Gemini new moon decision often arrives with unusual clarity once it finally appears. The hard part is not seeing the choice. The hard part is trusting yourself enough to make it. This is where the mental restlessness from earlier in this cycle serves its true purpose. All that back and forth thinking, all those repeated conversations, all those old options resurfacing, they were preparing you for this exact moment of decision. Notice if you feel torn between two options that both seem reasonable. This is a very common experience during this lunar phase, and it does not mean you are making a mistake either way. It means you are being asked to choose based on who you are becoming, not who you have been. Gemini energy does not fear change, and this new moon does not either. It is comfortable holding two possibilities and asking you to pick the one that feels most alive, even if it is not the most logical one on paper. If you feel stuck between two choices right now, try this simple exercise. Imagine yourself 1 year from now having chosen path 1. Notice how your body feels. Then imagine the same scenario for path 2. Your body often knows the answer before your mind is ready to admit it. This new moon rewards decisiveness and gently punishes prolonged indecision because Gemini energy moves quickly and does not like being left waiting. The path you choose now may not reveal its full significance for months, but rest assured, this choice is one of the central turning points this lunar cycle has been building toward all along. So there you have it, 5 powerful signs that this Gemini new moon is quietly, persistently, and unmistakably rewriting your destiny. Racing thoughts that refuse to settle, conversations that carry unexpected weight, old options returning to test your growth, a sudden craving for change and variety, and finally, a real fork in the road demanding a decision only you can make. None of these signs are random. Together, they form a pattern, a cosmic invitation to step into a more authentic version of your life. The universe rarely shouts. It whispers, again and again, through small moments until you finally listen. If any of these 5 signs resonated with you, that is not a coincidence either. You are meant to hear this today, at exactly this moment in your journey. Take a moment right now to reflect on which sign hit closest to home, and trust that the answer you have been searching for is closer than you think. The sky is always speaking. The question is whether you are ready to listen and act. Make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on, because the next lunar cycle is bringing revelations even more powerful than this one, and you will not want to miss what comes next. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, trust the process, trust the timing, and trust yourself.